Hello and welcome to the Word 2010 first demonstration video. So the first thing we need to notice in Microsoft Word is this little blinking line here next to it, where the mouse is at the very top of the page. This is where your text will appear when you type. So as I start typing things on the keyboard, it appears to the left of the cursor. You press the backspace key on your keyboard, which is towards the right hand side. It will take away text behind where you've typed. If we move the cursor by clicking with this I shape, we're going to use the delete key to take things away from the left, which is useful if you're trying to edit something like punctuation. It's quite difficult to get the right side of. Now, to move the cursor down to the next line when we're partway through a sentence. So let's do it, for example, here. To move this down to the next line, we press Enter, which is otherwise called the return key. And that pushes it down to the next line, which is obviously very useful. And the one remaining key for navigating around is Tab, which pushes things over by a certain space and moves the entire paragraph. And to go back again, we can use backspace. So, once again, very simply, we use backspace to delete things to the left of the cursor, delete to delete things to the right, and when we type, things always appear to the left of the cursor. I'm just pressing random letters. And to go down another line, we press Enter. And last of all, we have Tab. Now, let's just put this back to the beginning. So, let's move this down another line. To type a sentence, Word automatically capitalizes the first letter here. But if we were to put in a name, it doesn't capitalize this first letter. So to do that, click, and again, if you remember, we use backspace. We hold down the Shift key on your keyboard. It's towards the extreme left-hand side, and there's a second near the Enter key. And press, in this case, J. It comes out with a capital, which is very useful for things like streets and proper nouns and the like. But for the most part, you won't need it when starting sentences because it happens automatically, though generally it's good practice to use it anyway, because some things like when typing on the internet, for example, won't automatically make the first letter a capital. Now, one other thing is this full stop. We might want to change it to a comma, but it can be a bit fiddly to get it quite in the right place. So if you get close enough, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard, the 4 arrows. They should be directly below Enter or slightly to the right, depending on the exact make of your computer. We can go left and right, and also, in fact, down rows and up rows if you follow the cursor there. Let's go to the left, let's delete that, and let's turn it into a comma. And we also want to use delete to get rid of that. Let's put back in the M. Let's put in a full stop as well. Now, let's turn this into a letter. So we've highlighted this text by placing the cursor at one end, clicking with the left mouse button and dragging. It highlights all the particular section of text. You can do it to an individual word or letter or a punctuation, or even, in fact, you can highlight empty space if you want to get rid of, say, that space. And it works from both ends of the section of text. So once you've highlighted it, this is where you can do things like quick deleting of an entire sentence. So if we just tap either delete or backspace here just the once, it's all gone. So let's say we want to do a letter. So the first thing we want is our address. So type it in. and then this obviously is not on the right side of the paper. So to move it across, we can highlight it again. As you can see, you can highlight several lines at once. And here, in this area here, we have these 4 buttons. Now, the furthest right we can ignore for now. We'll come on to that in a later video. It's the specialist function. But these 3, the left-hand one aligns text to the left, which is the standard. The middle one puts things into the center, and you'll notice our text has jumped into the center. And the right-hand one sends things to the extreme right of the screen where you want an address. So, let's move this further down again, and we want to put it back to the left. So, let's say we want to put in the person's salutation and the person's name. So, dear John. Now, perhaps we want to make this stand out, so we can click and drag as before, so it highlights it, and we can make it bold with the capital B. Let's turn it on and then off again. Italicized, underlined, and these can be used in combination. We could also make that bigger by using this little drop down box here and picking any size we want. Without even clicking, it shows us how big it will be in advance, which is quite useful. Let's leave it back at 11, which is the default. We could also change the style, the font, and the default is Calibri, but there's all sorts of others. Times New Roman is the old style, the old classic, and there's all sorts of special ones. If you look in the main part of the letter, notice as we move our mouse, it changes the different fonts, and there's all sorts. I mean, most of them are fairly simple. Some of them are a little more special, like these ones perhaps. That's quite a nice one. Let's do that. We can also add things like bullet points, which of course can be very useful when you've got several things you need to emphasize as important. So let's put this back to the normal font, obviously. So we have a choice of normal bullets, or we can easily change the style by using the little arrow just next to the bullets button. So we can have circles, squares, ticks, or just kind of a blank space. Let's go with these diamonds. And as you go down, it'll add another one just by pressing enter. We can also change these to numbers. It automatically changes all the bullet points in that row to numbers. As you go down, it adds the next number in. And last of all, we can inset, such as this. So if you press tab, remember tab how it moves it slightly across the page. In this case, it moves it in and changes it to a little A. I'm using random words here for this list. If we go down another line and put tab again, you can get an I and one again, another A and I, and so on. To do inset lists and to put it back again, let's just put in a B, put it down again, put a backspace. We can continue in the list as we were before. So let's click and drag all of this and just delete it. Delete that again. The last thing we're going to do today is we're going to change the colour. So this A here with a little red line underneath, often mistaken for underline, this is the colour change. The line underneath shows you what colour it will change the text to. So the default is red. And we've highlighted our text, and we give that a click and it turns red. Nice bright red colour. Or we can choose any colour you want under the sun, and again you'll notice that the text is changing as we move the mouse over these different colours. So let's go for a nice bold. Let's go for purple, just for be flamboyant. And last of all, this is the thing that everyone asks. On the left-hand side, you'll notice these 3 lines of the address are really spaced out. Now let's highlight these, and this is often can be quite annoying in the new Word. The default is this large spacing. It's very easy to get rid of. You see here it has A, B, B, C, C, D, D, and normal. Here it has A, B, B, C, C, D, D, and no spacing. So let's go no spacing and click. Now, you'll notice it's jumped to the left, which is because it takes off any formatting done, and it would take off things like colour or a different font, so you probably want to set this up first. But it has cut out all that spacing. We can always highlight it again and send it back to the right as well. That looks much better as it's neater and closer together. Now, last of all, we're going to copy and paste. So this first passage here, we'll highlight it. This is from A Tale of Two Cities, so you haven't noticed already. So we can click this copy button up here in the top left. So give that a click. Then we go down, lower down the page, another line, and go up to the top left and click paste. It pastes in this paragraph here. And likewise, we can delete that again by highlighting and pressing backspace. Let's say we didn't want to keep this first paragraph in that place. We didn't want to actually make a copy, we just wanted to move the entire thing below. We can just click and drag and click cut, and notice it's disappeared. Now it's still on your virtual clipboard, which there's no real way of seeing, but it is there, don't worry. And if we go back below the second paragraph, which is now going to be the first paragraph, of course, and click paste, now appears below. And now, so it's very easy to rearrange passages, especially if you want to keep a copy of them, or delete them, or, well, quite frankly, whatever you want to do. You can even take small sections. So say you wanted to copy just the postcode, look it up on a map. We could do copy, and then you would take it onto Google. But we'll show you that in a different video using Google Maps. And last of all, we'll save this. So go to File, then Save As. And this is in my documents. This is good. This is Libraries, Documents, My Documents. And we'll call this Letter to John. So Shift to get the capital J, N, and then just click Save. And it's saved, and you'll notice at the top it says A Letter to John. Now to get that back, to finish it later, let's close this. Here we have another blank sheet, so we've come back the next day, or perhaps a week later or so. We can do File, Open, and here it is. We're in Libraries, Documents, My Documents, that's where we saved it. And here it is, Letter to John, give that a click, click Open, and it's back again. So that's our first introduction to Microsoft Word 2010 video. Next session we'll be going into this ribbon at the top and these tabs and what they do, and I hope you can join us for that. Thanks for watching.